The streetlights flickered on at exactly 9:02 p.m., though the old town clock in the square read 9:01. That 1-minute delay alone should have worried me, but not even close to what was waiting. The house at 200 Maple Drive had stood empty for over a decade, its windows boarded up, its front door chained shut. The for sale sign was peeling, rusting at the hinges in the autumn wind. I had moved to the small town of Winfield Grove only a week ago, trading city chaos for what I'd been told was quiet, friendly, safe. Funny how silence sometimes hides the loudest things. I arrived home just past 8. The sky painted deep indigo, leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. I parked under the single street lamp near my house, No. 198, and stepped out, keys in hand, backpack slung. The front door swung shut behind me. I took off my shoes in the foyer, automatic motion light flicking on, then dimming after a few seconds. The house smelled of fresh paint and sawdust. My new place still felt new, but in the sudden hush of the night, the smell changed. It deepened. I inhaled slowly. Something like old wood and something else. On my first night alone here, a rare chance to start fresh. I told myself the rule wouldn't matter. We can't open the door after 9 p.m. The locals whispered it in the coffee shop as I poured my black coffee one evening. Lindsay from the bookstore smiled and said it like a joke. "Oh, you'll find out, newcomer. In Winfield Grove we don't open the door after 9. I laughed it off. Probably just a local legend, a superstition, harmless. But now, as I crossed the living room toward the kitchen, my phone buzzed. I glanced. 8:58 p.m. I set the phone on the counter, made myself a tea, sat by the window facing the street. The town was quiet. Distant dog barks, the hum of the refrigerator. I sipped and looked at the front door. The chain lock glittered in the soft light. A thought passed. What if the rule wasn't about me opening the door, but the door opening itself? At 9:01 p.m., the motion sensor light on the porch outside glowed on. Though I had neither stepped outside nor opened the door, my heart skipped. I stood. The camera near the ceiling of the foyer scanned toward the front door. Its lens gleamed. I hadn't asked it to turn. The light on its small black body flicked. 9:02 p.m. The street lamp outside flickered. I heard the click of the front door chain snapping open. I froze. Empty hallway in front of me. The door swung inward an inch. A draft from outside. The wind carrying rain maybe, but the rain had stopped earlier. I checked the window. Dry glass. No movement on the sidewalk. Then the door swung shut with a thud. I exhaled. I told myself, it must be automatic. Wind. Fault in the chain. Nothing else. My tea burned at the bottom of the pot, abandoned. Still sitting. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 9:05 p.m. I reached for my phone. Inbox empty. No missed calls. Just the rule whispering in my mind. A sudden tap on the door. Slow. Single. Then another. The same one. I stood up. Walked to the foyer. My flashlight app on the phone in hand. I placed the phone on the floor, pointing upward, so the beam stretched into the dark lower threshold of the door. The red light of the porch, combined with the street lamp, created shadows creeping on the wood grain. Tap, tap. Each knock heavier than the last, more deliberate. I realized I hadn't locked the deadbolt. With trembling fingers I locked it, hearing the lock click. The door remained still. The knocks stopped. Silence. I leaned the phone against the wall and backed away. My breath loud in the narrow space. The hallway light flickered once. I stepped into the living room and sat again. The tea long gone cold. My eyes darted to the front door. The sign on the door read locked in my mind. Then the floor beneath the living room creaked. A single step above. I lived in a one-floor house. There was no upstairs. I froze. The step again. Heavy, firm, somewhere above the ceiling. Pause, then another. The wood above my head groaned. I should have run, got out, but I stayed, my heart pounding. I told myself, it's an old house, dry wood, settlement, but it didn't settle. It walked. I crept toward the railing of the kitchen. The ceiling vent over the living room shifted slightly. There was a slight movement. The vent cover rattled. I aimed the phone beam up. The cover opened. Tiny darkness peered out. Then it snapped shut. The clock struck 9:10 p.m. The light in the hall dimmed. The temperature dropped. My breath made tiny clouds in front of me. I pulled my jacket on. I walked outside the front door for fresh air. The porch was wet. Raindrops glistened though the weather app said no rain. I frowned. The door handle turned. I stiffened. Slowly, the door swung open outward. I stumbled backward. The dark hallway inside looked deeper than before. The red glow inside was gone. In its place, a deep blackness that swallowed the threshold. A single whisper, low, distant, open. I didn't. I slammed the door shut and ran to my car. I started the engine. Headlights on. I looked back at the house. No shadows moved. No flickering lights. Only the old chain lock hung loose. I sat for a moment, my breath ragged. Then I saw it at the top of the driveway. A figure, tall, dark coat. It stood still beside a street lamp, its face hidden under a brimmed hat. The light glinted off one thing, its eyes red. The figure turned and vanished into the trees. I didn't sleep that night. I drove into town at dawn, parked by the coffee shop. The same folks sat inside, sipping. I looked at Lindsay, asked, "What happens if someone opens the door after 9 p.m.? She frowned. "You shouldn't ask." "But I will," I said, "because I need to know." She looked away, white-knuckled around her mug. They say the door belongs to something else after night falls, and the something else doesn't knock, it enters. I felt a chill. Then, I realized, the rule wasn't meant to keep us safe, it was to keep it out. I drove back home, sun still low, dew on the leaves. I parked, turned off the engine, walked inside. The house felt normal again, friendly even, in the daylight. I locked the door, but this time with The chain was reinforced. I unplugged some of the smart sensors. 9 p.m. would come again. I knew it. I found a chair and sat in the middle of the living room with a hammer by my side. The wind whispered through the trees outside. I traced the moment. 9 o'clock, 9:01, 9:02. The house held its breath, and I realized the rule was no joke. It was a timer, a countdown. The rest of the night, I listened to the floor, the ceiling, the taps on the door that never came but might any moment. When the red glow came back to the threshold, when the chain snapped open by itself, that's when the door would open, and I had to be ready. I didn't sleep the next night either. Every creak in the house, every groan of the settling wood, felt like a whisper crawling under my skin. I moved my chair closer to the door, facing it, like a guard on a forgotten post. The hammer lay on my lap. My phone screen glowed faintly, showing the time, 8:44 p.m. I'd counted down each minute the night before, but this time, I wanted to see it. Whatever it was. Outside, the neighborhood looked ordinary. Streetlights hummed. Somewhere down the block, a dog barked once, then went silent, as if hushed by something unseen. My porch light flickered twice, the same timing as before, at 8:59. I felt it, a subtle vibration through the floorboards, as if something heavy was shifting beneath the house. The air grew colder, though the heater was running. The smell came next, old metal and burnt pine. My eyes watered. I blinked hard, breath shallow. Then it happened again. 9:02 p.m. The front door shuddered, once, then still. My fingers tightened around the hammer's handle. "Not this time," I whispered. The chain lock rattled. Slowly, not like before. It wasn't breaking, it was being moved. Deliberate, controlled. The chain slid open. metal clinking softly like a whisper. The deadbolt turned halfway and stopped. I stood, heart pounding so loud it drowned the wind outside. The porch light flickered and then died. The porch light flickered and then died. Darkness poured through the frosted glass panel in the door, blacker than anything I'd ever seen. I stepped closer, my reflection distorted in the glass, until another reflection joined mine, a tall, shadowed figure behind me. I spun around, empty room, but the reflection was still there. It moved. The knock came once, sharp enough to echo through the hall, then another, then another. I didn't open it, but I didn't back away either. I whispered, "What do you want?" Silence. Then, 3 knocks. Faster now. I shouted, "Who's there?" And that's when it spoke. A low, trembling voice. Not from behind the door, from inside the walls. "You left it open." My throat tightened. No, no, I didn't. The voice grew clearer, like static resolving into a whisper. The door, the other one. I turned, scanning the living room. Nothing, just the kitchen beyond, its sliding back door partially open. I never opened that door. Not once. The air shifted. The curtain swayed though, there was no wind. I walked toward the kitchen, every step slower than the last. The hammer felt heavy in my hand, my wrist trembling under its weight. The back door's glass pane reflected the faint light from my phone, and behind that reflection, I saw a face, pale, long, its eyes too far apart, its mouth curved upward, too wide, too human to be real. I froze. It was inside the reflection, not outside the door, trapped behind the glass, or maybe waiting for me to touch it. The moment I blinked, the face was gone. I slammed the door shut and locked it, every latch, every bolt. I shoved a chair under the handle. My pulse didn't slow. It couldn't. I turned back to the front door. The chain was locked again. I hadn't touched it. A low hum filled the house, faint at first, like the vibration of an old refrigerator. Then, louder, deeper, until it felt like the walls themselves were resonating. I covered my ears, stepped back, and shouted, "Stop." Everything went silent, completely silent. No hum, no creaks, not even my own breathing. The air froze mid-sound, and I realized I couldn't hear myself breathe. I gasped, but there was no sound at all. Then, from the door's other side, a whisper pressed through the wood. "You heard it once. You saw it once. That's all it takes." I stumbled backward, tripping over the chair. My phone fell. The flashlight beam cut across the floor, catching something on the wall by the door. It wasn't there before. A handprint, black like soot, but dripping, as if still wet. It wasn't mine. The smell of iron filled the air. I tried to scream, but my voice still wouldn't come out. My throat moved, but the silence held. Only the whisper replied, "You're part of the rule now." And then the clock struck 9:09 p.m., and the door handle began to turn again. The door handle kept turning, metal squealing in slow circles. My breath caught, still soundless, still trapped in that terrible silence. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. It wasn't fear freezing me, it was something else, like gravity thickening around me. My limbs felt submerged in invisible cement. The hammer slipped from my fingers and fell to the floor without a sound. The handle stopped turning. For a full minute, nothing. Then a faint scratching began, not at the door, but inside it, like something buried in the wood, clawing to get out. I forced my hand to reach for my phone. The flashlight flickered across the frame. The black handprint was gone. The wood beneath it was darker now, as though burned from within. I stepped back, my knees trembling, my throat still tight. I mouthed words, but no sound came. The silence pressed on me like deep water. The door suddenly exhaled. I swear it breathed. A cold mist rolled from the tiny gaps around the edges, pooling over the floor like smoke. My breath fogged in front of my face, the only sign that I was still alive. Then a voice, this time not from the walls, not from the door, but from my phone speaker. It was the voicemail app. I hadn't touched it. The screen flickered on, playing a new message. Timestamp, 8:57 p.m. Unknown number. Static filled the room, a low distorted hiss. Then a voice broke through, whispering in a rhythm too measured to be random. Don't open the door. Don't answer the knock. Don't speak when it calls your name. My chest tightened. The voice paused, then changed to deeper roar. It already knows you're listening. I threw the phone onto the couch. The screen went black. I turned to the window. The street was empty, drenched in an orange glow from the flickering lamps. And then I noticed the houses. Every porch light on the street, every single one was off, except mine. A shape moved near the edge of the road, a tall, lean silhouette dragging something long behind it, like a rope or chain. It stopped in front of my yard, looked up. The faint light caught its face, pale, cracked, eyes black like holes. It smiled and raised a hand, showing a chain link. Torn and rusted, the one from my door. I stumbled backward. My heel hit the fallen hammer. I snatched it up and rushed to the hallway, locking myself in the back room. My heart pounded so hard, I felt it in my throat. I sat against the door, clutching the hammer, staring into the dim light leaking through the curtains. Then the silence broke. A single sound, soft, muffled, like breathing from the other side of the room. Not mine. I turned my head slowly. The closet door was slightly open, a thin line of black between the wood panels. I stood up, the floor creaking beneath my bare feet. The breath continued, slow, rhythmic. I stepped closer. My reflection in the mirrored surface of the closet door stared back, pale, shaking. I leaned in, and my reflection blinked a second before I did. It smiled. I stumbled back, heart racing, but the reflection stepped forward. Through the glass, the sound returned, a low ringing in my ears, followed by a violent knock from the front of the house. The reflection whispered in my own voice, "He's inside now." The knock turned into pounding. I ran to the living room. The front door was wide open. Wind howled in scattering papers, lifting curtains. The chain was gone, the lock broken, and at the threshold, standing in the cold light of the street lamp, was the same tall figure, the one from the road. It didn't move. It just watched me. Then it lifted a hand and slowly pointed up. I followed its gesture with my eyes. The ceiling above me creaked. A shadow moved across it, crawling, stretching dot, and for the first time, the house spoke a deep moan through every wall, as if something huge and alive was breathing behind the plaster. The whisper returned, this time clear as day, coming from all around me. "Now you know why we can't open the door after 9. After 9. The house was alive. That was my first thought, as the walls groaned again. Louder, this time deep, wet, breathing. The figure still stood in the doorway, its head tilting in short, unnatural jerks. I couldn't see its eyes anymore, just the faint shine of the chain still hanging from its hand. Then it took a step forward, not into the house, but out, into the darkness. As it moved, the porch light flickered once, twice, then exploded in a pop of glass. Everything went black. For a moment, the only sound was my own heartbeat pounding through the silence. Then the air shifted. I could feel it inside the house again, not outside anymore. I backed away slowly. Every step I took, the floorboards creaked, and something underneath them creaked back, mimicking my steps. I ran, down the hall, into the bedroom, slammed the door. I shoved the dresser against it and collapsed beside the bed, trying to catch my breath. My phone was still in the living room, useless. No service here anyway. The hum in the air returned, low and sickly, and then faintly, a voice from outside the room. "You shouldn't have watched it." The words were soft, wet, like someone whispering through water. I froze. "Who's there?" A pause. Then, the video. You listened. You let it in. I stared at the floor, my pulse thudding in my neck. The voicemail. That was the first time I'd heard the voice. That was when everything started to move. A soft knock came, not at the bedroom door, but from inside the closet. 1, 2, 3, slow. Deliberate. The air turned colder again. Frost formed along the edge of the mirror on the closet door. I grabbed the hammer and stepped closer, whispering, "If you're real, I'll see you." The knocking stopped. Silence. I reached for the handle. My hand shook so violently the metal rattled against the wood. I took a deep breath and pulled the door open. Nothing, just the hanging clothes, swaying slightly. I let out a shaky breath and backed away. My shoulders hit the bedpost, and that's when I saw it. A small black handprint on the inside of the closet wall. Fresh. I stumbled backward, tripped, fell. The hammer rolled under the bed, then something laughed. Not loud, not mocking, just a slow, rasping chuckle, like dry lungs forcing air. I turned. It was coming from the vent above the dresser. The grate began to shake. Dust fell. Then 2 long, pale fingers slipped through the slats, curling around the edge. The laughter deepened. I screamed. This time, the sound finally came out. A ragged, broken sound that filled the room and died just as fast. The fingers vanished. The vent fell silent, and then, from behind the dresser, another voice spoke, older, quieter. "You need to leave the house." I froze. "Who are you?" "I used to live here." The voice trembled. "We thought we could ignore it, that the rule was superstition. But once you hear it, once you let it speak inside your walls, it marks you." I crawled closer to the dresser. "What is it?" A pause. Then, "It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's what's left of time after the door closes. The dark that's left behind when you forget to keep it out." My eyes burned with tears. What do? You can't undo it. You can only trade places. Before I could ask what that meant, the wall beside the dresser began to bulge, as though someone was pressing from the other side. The wallpaper stretched and tore, and a pale face formed beneath it, eyes open, mouth moving, whispering soundless words. I stumbled to my feet, pushed the dresser away, and ran into the hall. The air was thicker now, like fog but heavier, almost liquid. The lights flickered weakly, struggling to stay alive. The front door was wide open again. Beyond it, the street was gone. No houses, no lamps, just darkness, endless and hollow. And in that darkness, dozens of faint red eyes opened, one after another, watching me. I backed away slowly. My hand brushed the wall. It felt warm, like skin. Then I heard a voice behind me, my own voice. "It's your turn now." I spun around and saw myself standing in the living room, eyes black, face pale, smiling. My reflection, the one from the closet. It stepped closer. "You broke the rule. The door's yours now." It reached out a hand. I tried to run, but the darkness outside surged inward, swallowing the light, the air, everything. The last thing I saw was my own face smiling as it whispered, "Don't open the door after 9 p.m. Then the house went silent again, waiting for the next new owner. When I woke up, it was daylight. The front door was closed. The air was still. I sat on the floor of the living room, the hammer beside me, the phone buzzing silently with missed calls. The house looked normal, too normal. No burn marks on the walls, no handprints, no broken locks. Only the faint smell of iron lingering in the air, like blood drying on metal. I checked the clock. 8:42 a.m. I'd survived the night. Outside, the neighborhood looked calm. Children walked to school. A mail truck stopped across the street. Everything was ordinary again, as if nothing had happened, but I could feel it in my chest. The silence wasn't gone. It had just gone somewhere else. When I opened my phone, the screen flickered once. A new voicemail was waiting. Timestamp, 9:01 p.m. The same voice as before. You closed it, but it's still watching. I deleted the message immediately. My hands shook. Then the phone buzzed again. A notification from the camera by my front door. Motion detected. I played it. The footage showed me standing inside the house at 9:03 p.m. last night, except I never remembered moving after that moment. And in the reflection of the glass door behind me, something stood just over my shoulder, a tall shadow with no face. The video ended abruptly. I didn't move for a long time. I just sat there, feeling the weight of what I'd brought into my life. The rule wasn't about superstition or ghosts. It was an agreement, a boundary we were never meant to cross. The door after 9 p.m. doesn't keep something out. It keeps something in. And now, it knows my name. I don't know how long I have before it comes again. But if you're hearing this, if you're watching this, then listen to me carefully. When the clock hits 9 o'clock, no matter where you are, no matter what you hear, don't open the door. And if you already did, a faint whisper rises in the static. It's already too late. The screen fades to black. Faint breathing continues under the sound of wind. A voice breaks the silence. Calm, cold, almost human. Subscribe before the lights go out. Share this story before someone you know hears the knock. Before someone you know hears the knock.